Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're tackling a really interesting problem called count partitions with max-min difference at most k. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the concept is super consistent with problems you might see in interviews involving arrays and dynamic programming. We'll break it down step by step. First, let's understand what we're being asked to do. We are given a list of integers, let's call it nums, and a separate integer value, k. Our goal is to slice this list into one or more contiguous segments. But there's a rule for every slice we make. If you look at the numbers inside that specific slice, the difference between the largest number and the smallest number cannot be greater than k. We need to find the total number of valid ways we can cut up the original list to satisfy this rule. The output is simply a count. How many different ways can we perform these cuts? Because this number can get absolutely massive with larger lists, we need to return the result modulo 10 to the power of 9 plus 7. The core condition to keep in mind throughout this entire video is that for every single segment we create, the maximum value minus the minimum value must be less than or equal to our limit, column. Let's walk through an example to verify our understanding. Suppose our list nums has the values 9, 4, 1, 3, 7, and our limit k is 4. Let's try to make a partition. What if we cut after the 9? The first segment is just 9. The max is 9, min is 9, difference is 0. That's fine. But look at the second segment. 4, 1, 3, 7. The max is 7, the min is 1. 7 minus 1 is 6, which is greater than our limit of 4. So, this specific partition is invalid. We need to find all the ones that work. Okay, so what actually works? Well, we could just cut every single number into its own segment. That always works because the difference is 0. Or, we could group the 3 and the 7 together, since 7 minus 3 is exactly 4. We could also group the 1 and the 3. Basically, we act like detectives, checking every possible grouping. In this case, there are exactly 6 valid ways to do it. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. I'll be explaining the logic and code using Python. It's really clean for reading algorithms. But if you're a Java, C++, or JavaScript developer, don't worry. I've included the full solution code for those languages at the very end of the video, so you can just skip ahead when we're done with the logic. Let's start with the first approach, which combines sliding window and dynamic programming. The intuition here is that if we want to know how many ways we can partition the array up to index I, we just need to look back. We ask, where could the last segment have started? If a segment starting at j and ending at I is valid, then we can add all the ways we partitioned the array before j. To manage the max and min values efficiently as we stretch our window, we can use a sorted list. Okay, we've talked about the big picture and the logic. Now let's see what this looks like as actual code. I'll put the full solution up on the screen first. And don't worry, after that, we'll walk through the most important sections together. Here is the complete Python code for the first approach. It uses a sorted list to keep our window elements in order. This lets us easily grab the minimum and maximum values to check our condition. Let's break down exactly what's happening inside that loop. First, we initialize our DP array and a prefix sum array. We set the 0th index to 1, representing the base case. There's one way to partition an empty array. Then, we start our main loop, iterating through the array with index I. Inside the loop, we immediately add the current number to our sorted list. This list keeps track of all numbers in our current window. Now comes the sliding window logic. We check if the difference between the largest number, which is at the end of our sorted list, and the smallest number at the beginning, is greater than k. If it is, our window is invalid. We need to shrink it from the left, so we remove the number at index j from our list and move our j pointer forward. We keep doing this until the window satisfies the condition. Once our window is valid, any starting point from j up to I forms a valid last segment. This means we can transition from any of the states before these valid segments. Instead of summing them up manually, which would be slow, we use our prefix sum array. We take the total prefix sum up to I and subtract the prefix sum before j. This gives us the sum of ways for the range efficiently. Finally, we update the prefix sum for the next iteration. The first approach is good, but adding and removing from a sorted list takes logarithmic time. Can we do it faster? Yes, we can use a technique called monotonic queues. Instead of a sorted list, we maintain 2 double-ended queues. One keeps track of the maximums, and the other keeps track of the minimums. This allows us to find the min and max in constant time, making the whole algorithm linear. Here's the start of the optimized solution. We set up our DP and prefix arrays just like before, but this time we initialize 2 dequays, min_q and max_q. Inside the loop, notice the while loop for max_q. We remove elements from the back of the queue if they are smaller than our current number. This keeps the queue sorted in descending order, so the biggest element is always at the front. We do the exact same thing for the minimum queue, but with the logic flipped. We pop elements from the back if they are larger than or equal to the current number. This ensures that the indices in min_q correspond to increasing values, so the smallest element is always at the front. Now, we check our condition. Is the difference between the number at the front of the max queue and the number at the front of the min queue greater than k? If so, the window is invalid. We increment our left pointer j. Crucially, if the index j matches the index at the front of either queue, we pop from the front, because that element is sliding out of our window. The DP calculation at the end is exactly the same as the first approach. So how fast is this optimized version? Since every element is added to and removed from our queues at most one time, the time complexity is big O of n, or linear time. This is the best we can do. The space complexity is also big O of n, because we need to store the DP array, the prefix sum array, and our queues. Before we finish, let's quickly touch on edge cases. What if k is 0? That means every number in a segment must be identical. Our logic handles this perfectly, because the difference will be 0. What if the array has only one item? The loop runs once, and we get one valid partition. The sliding window logic is robust enough to handle these cases without any special if statements. Alright, before we jump into the other languages, I want to quickly show you a personal project I built to solve a problem that always drove me crazy. It's an app called My Daily To-Do. My biggest frustration with every other to-do app was retyping the same things every single day. Go to the gym, review code, work on the daily Leetcode problem. You know the drill. So I built my app around one simple but powerful idea: separating your routine tasks from your one-off tasks. Routine tasks, marked with the little refresh icon, automatically reset for the next day. One-off tasks, like ship new feature, get the little puff of smoke icon, and they disappear for good once you're done. This small change turns a dumb checklist into a smart scheduler. If that sounds useful, you can try it right now on the web. The link is in the description. And one more thing I want to make super clear. Right now, as a thank you for being an early supporter, the app is 100% free. There are no ads and no subscriptions whatsoever. This means you get access to everything, including really powerful features like presets, which let you save entire task lists and load them with a single tap. Now down the road, creating new presets will likely become part of a premium plan to help support the channel. But, and this is the important part, any presets you create now, while it's all free, are yours to keep and use forever. So it's the perfect time to check it out on the web, play with all the features, and build out your perfect setup at no cost. Alright, that covers the main solution in Python. As promised, for those of you who code in other languages, I'm about to show the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript. I won't be breaking these down, so just pause the video on your language of choice to check it out. Alright, as promised, here is the full solution in Java. You can pause the video here to take a closer look at the implementation. Next up, here is the C++ version of the solution. Again, feel free to pause and review the code. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. Hopefully seeing it in a few different languages helps solidify the concepts. If you enjoyed this problem and want to keep practicing, the learning doesn't have to stop here. I've organized all my video solutions into handy playlists. Whether you're looking to grind through more Leetcode easy, medium, or hard problems, or you want to master a specific topic like sliding window or dynamic programming, I've got a playlist for you. It's the perfect way to focus your study sessions. Go to the Playlist tab and find a playlist that fits your goals. Also, if you're looking for even more Leetcode problems beyond the daily challenge, I've started a second channel called Leetcode Unlocked. It's where I'll be posting solutions to a ton of other problems, so if you're serious about your interview prep, be sure to check it out. The link is in the description below. Hope this Leetcode solution breakdown made sense. If it helped, give that like button a click, maybe subscribe for more, or drop a comment if you have questions. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you know straight away when I upload a video, because I upload videos daily. If you want to support the channel, a few people have asked how I plan my solutions. I'm a big fan of sketching out the logic and data structures on a tablet before I code. It really helps. I've put affiliate links in the description to the tablet I use and a few other good options. Using those links doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps me out. Or, if you're feeling generous, there's always the Boba Fund. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.